this new moon is not only the last one of the year of 2024, but it's also a gate that we're stepping through, a portal that is igniting our true abilities of communication, which is also connected to the universe. This new moon is inviting us to explore self-mastery further to the next level. Welcome to New Light Living Podcast. I'm Ulrika Sullivan. I'm an intuitive spiritual life coach and a galactic astrologer. This video is a galactic astrology reading of the Capricorn new moon at 9 degrees 44 minutes on December 30th, 2024. Welcome. What I do in these videos, I put an outer layer of fixed stars, celestial bodies, and galactic points to the traditional Western tropical astrology wheel. And that is to help us connect with our multidimensional self beyond our current solar system. Many of us are curious about galactic astrology and what it means to connect with our soul's journey. Through our galactic chart, we can trace our soul journey in the quantum field. And that is so exciting. And here I provide a galactic astrology reading of the new moon in Capricorn. And we have a lot of exciting things to go through in this video. 2024 is done, and I want to thank you who have been here with me over the course of 2024 and beyond that. But also, if you're completely new, welcome to this channel. I love the comments that you are giving me on my channel and on my podcast. What you'll receive in this video are 3 energetic themes that I've pulled out from the galactic chart of the Capricorn new moon. And also at the end, you'll receive 3 questions should you want to integrate this Capricorn energy some more. Are you curious about your own galactic alignments? Download my Galactic Alignments Reference Guide. There's a link in the description box below. This new moon is conjunct the Lyra constellation and the fixed star Alathfar at 10 degrees of Capricorn. And it's the second new moon of the month of December, which makes it a black moon. And that's when 2 new moons are within the same calendar month. But it's also, very interestingly, the third new moon of this year of 2024 at 9 degrees, and 9 is a culmination degree. What's even more interesting is that this pattern of new moons at 9 degrees is continuing into 2025 with 2 more new moons. The new moon in Aquarius on January 29th is also at 9 degrees. And the following new moon in Pisces on February 28th is also at 9 degrees. So that gives us a bit of a period of time where this culmination energy, the first new moon we had in 2024 was the Scorpio new moon on November 1st. And from there, it's been all 9 degrees new moons since then. So between November 2024 and February 2025, it may highlight for us a period of time with significant culmination on the physical plane, because 9 degrees is in the first decan, and that is related to the physical plane. So this is an energy signature that I just wanted to mention because it's quite interesting. The ruler of this new moon is Saturn at 14 degrees of Pisces, conjunct Eridanus-Archenar, which is at 15 degrees of Pisces. We also have the square to Jupiter retrograde at 13 degrees of Gemini, and also a square to the great attractor at 14 degrees of Sagittarius. So Saturn has a prominent influence at this new moon as the ruler of Capricorn. And Eridanus-Archenar has a significant influence on us with regards to supporting our spiritual evolution. Through this new moon, we're getting guidance, a very strong, clear guidance that it's time now to fully step into embodying our true self. This is a very earthy new moon in Capricorn, and it has to do with embodiment on the physical plane. embodiment of our soul in the physical plane. And there's some significant guidance that is provided not only by Saturn, but by a number of fixed stars and asteroids in this new moon that we're going to go through in the energetic themes coming up. This new moon is encouraging us to embody our selfless self. And what that may mean is our natural energy frequency, which is simply who we are just by being ourselves. And that is a strong message through this new moon, that the closer we can get to embodying our selfless self, our just the way we are, that's also when we are as closest in connection with universal wisdom. When we are embodying our true self, we can handle anything. We can stay calm when there's turbulence. We can have a conversation or interaction with anyone, irrespective of their behavior. And this is also signified as inner strength, that when we are embodying our true self, we also start to notice what's missing elsewhere, out in society, in the collective, in discerning others' intentions, whether they are good or bad. As we are growing more and more into now embodying our true self, we're also getting a heightened antenna in terms of noticing what is illusion and what's not. And as the connection to behind the veil is growing, getting stronger, it's also creating an ability within us to call out what is not in harmony, what is not aligned with universal wisdom. Our souls are invited to connect with the universe in ways that we may not have done as a species for many, many years. This is a connection that is through the heart. And also, if we are willing to go down that path, it shows us our true self. This is why spiritual practice, which can be very simple, of tuning into our true self every day and coming back to it over and over and over again. And it's this flowing place of wisdom. In this place of embodying the true self, we are also remembering of who we truly are. And that is a filling energy from the inside that raises our vibration, raises this space within ourselves that we connect with. The true self is a place of nourishment, a place of strength, a place where our inner calm cannot be thrown off. And this is what this new moon in Capricorn is inviting us to explore, this true self and how we express that through our body, through our communication, through ways that are different than necessarily speech or writing, the traditional ways of communication. So let's take a look at the new moon chart next. So here we have the new moon chart. And as you can see, the sun and the moon are together there at 9 degrees 44 minutes in Capricorn, conjunct Lyra-Aladfar at 10 degrees of Capricorn. And the ruler of this new moon is Saturn at 14 degrees of Pisces, conjunct Eridanus-Archenar at 15 degrees of Pisces, squaring Jupiter in retrograde here at 13 degrees of Gemini, and also squaring the great attractor at 14 degrees of Sagittarius. And we talked about the great attractor in the previous full moon in Gemini video. So if you're curious about the great attractor, go back and rewatch that. And I also wanted to show you Lyra-Aladfar here. And the new moon is conjunct Lyra-Aladfar in the Lyra constellation. And Lyra-Aladfar is specifically associated with light language, music, high frequency, vibration. So the new moon being in conjunction with Lyra-Alathfar here is a statement. It's a highlight on the importance of frequency and our relationship with frequency. Now, I also want to point out there's another Lyra-Aladfar here, not circled, which is Pluto's alignment in conjunction with Lyra-Aladfar. So, not to confuse you here, but the new moon is conjunct Lyra-Aladfar, circled in yellow there. And Pluto is still conjunct Lyra-Aladfar at 1 degree of Aquarius. So, that is just to show you the importance of highlighting the Lyra constellation overall is very linked into our human galactic heritage. And at this new moon, we are again getting a glimpse of the importance of the Lyra constellation in our galactic history of the human species, and particularly dormant talents and gifts that we may bring here to reconnect with, such as light language. It could be any other mode of frequency that resonates. It doesn't have to be light language, it's just an example. So if you have alignments around 10 degrees of Capricorn or opposite 10 degrees of Cancer, it also may be part of your soul journey to reconnect with frequency that your soul is recognizing based on your soul journey and potential experiences as a soul within the Lyra constellation. This new moon is calling us to explore self mastery on the physical plane, and I'll show you how I get to that. The ruler of the new moon is Saturn, and the higher expression, the higher vibration of Saturn is the dwarf planet Varuna, which in simple words is associated with energy frequency of self-mastery, of sovereignty. So here you can see the new moon there at 9 degrees 44 minutes, conjunct Lyra-Aladfar at 10 degrees of Capricorn. Now, the new moon is in a quincunx with Varuna, dwarf planet Varuna, at 9 degrees of Leo. And this is the higher expression. Varuna is the higher expression of Saturn, the ruler of this new moon. Varuna is that expression of self mastery when we're putting the crown on top of our own head and living a sovereign life from the heart. This is a higher expression of this new moon, as opposed to the new moon in Capricorn, which may often be interpreted as, especially in the first decan, as a new moon that is focused on material goals and achieving according to ambition. And what that is many times described as is that energy of push, push, push and go get, as opposed to Varuna's heart-centered self mastery. So the way I interpret the higher expression of this new moon is that we have an opportunity for reconciliation between the parts of ourselves that are wanting to go get and push, push, push and achieve the goals that we may think are important versus this sovereign life, the true self embodied with courage through the heart. And here at this new moon, it's almost like we're presented with a bridge, an opening to close a gap so that we can walk into 2025 in more harmony. So here we have Varuna, the dwarf planet discovered in 2000 as part of the Kuiper belt and seen as the higher expression of Saturn, the ruler of this new moon, but also the courage it takes to embody our true self, which is based in self-mastery. When we can express ourselves just the way we are on the physical plane, it brings an inner peace with it. Here at this new moon, we are invited to connect with that natural frequency of ours that just feels like harmony. And it's funny to think that Varuna in Leo here, I brought in a lion to connect with as well, is also many times a depiction of the constellation of Lyra. So this is a beautiful bridge that we are presented with here to bridge the gap between our not self that many times the Capricorn energy is pushing us beyond what we are naturally designed to do or be. And the quincunx there to Varuna in Leo is that true self energy that brings in that courage, that peace, once we connect with it. And here we have a beautiful bridge to walk at this new moon, an invitation to consider these parts of ourselves that yearn for harmony and self-mastery and sovereignty and putting the crown on our head, on ourselves, but also the connection that the new moon is highlighting through Lyra-Aladfar here, and the frequency, remembering our true natural frequency that we're made of and the connection to the universe. So the higher expression of this new moon is truly an invitation to embody our true self and connect deeper and deeper into confidence, to sovereignty, to calm and harmony within, because we will need it as we step into our next year and coming years, that stability within to lean on as the world around us may feel an uproar. And with 5 new moons in a row at 9 degrees, it provides us with a window of culmination, a culmination where we are invited to shift into a new perspective, a new vibration, a new frequency, a new chapter. Jupiter in Gemini in retrograde are those thought patterns that we have maintained for so long that we are now invited to expand beyond. And that square to Saturn is the holding back and keeping our beliefs the way they are, because Saturn is a restrictive force to Pisces, which has no boundaries. So that tug of war between Saturn in Pisces wanting to put a limit to our spirituality versus Jupiter and the mind there, it's a growth opportunity that is showing us this polarity between expansion and retraction. And we're going to talk more about this Jupiter-Saturn square in energetic theme 3 coming up. Before we go into looking at the new moon chart, I'd like to share what the energetic themes are for this new moon. The first theme is a new chapter of frequency. And here we're going to talk about the Pleiades star cluster, the dwarf planet Sedna, and also Lyra-Aladfar. The second theme is transcending Atlantis energy. And here we're going to talk about Andromeda-Mirach. The third theme is messages of soul integration. And here we're going to talk about Eridanus-Archenar and Hydra-Alphard. All right, let's take a look at the first theme. So here we have the first theme that I've called a new chapter of frequency. And here, as you can see, I've highlighted a minor grand trine that has been going on for a while, but is now getting highlighted by the North Node coming closer and closer to the 0 degree of Aries. And we already have had Sedna there at 0 degree of Gemini conjunct the Pleiades for a while. And Pluto, of course, conjunct Lyra-Aladfar there for a while, now at 1 degree of Aquarius. What's highlighting this minor grand trine at this new moon is the North Node's new conjunction to Pegasus sheet at 29 degrees of Pisces. And that is giving us guidance for the future. Pegasus sheet is associated with hope and hope in dire times. And Pegasus sheet will have a significant role in influencing us in 2025. And if you're curious about 2025 galactic astrology, check out the 2025 galactic astrology forecast that I have available to you. And there's a link for that in the description box below. But going back to Pegasus sheet, now when the North Node is approaching that 0 degree of Aries point, this will lock in this minor grand trine even further. And as you can see, the North Node and South Node are, of course, opposite each other. The South Node is conjunct the supergalactic center. So this is a foundational type of energy that is in place for a while. And the North Node will go into Pisces on January 11th, around there, depending on where you live. But that is the time frame for a shift of the nodes. So this is very much highlighted here as a tightening minor grand trine at this time. But also at this new moon, we have a second minor grand trine with Sedna and the North Node, Sedna conjunct Pleiades, of course, and North Node conjunct Pegasus sheet. And this minor grand trine is activated by Mars now in retrograde at 2 degrees of Leo. And this makes this a highly interesting formation as we go on. Mars is opposite Lyra-Aladfar at this new moon. So if we bring these two minor grand trines plus the Pluto and Mars opposition here, it brings us to a bowl formation that points to the South Node conjunct supergalactic center, and also Sedna conjunct Pleiades opposite Centaurus Alpha Centauri at 29 degrees of Scorpio. And just by looking at this, it's a harmony frequency that is provided now by the connections between these constellations and celestial bodies and points. And what we can notice here is that new chapter, that new energy where the North Node is closing in on the 0 degree of Aries and Mars is closing in on the 0 degree of Leo, right? So when this is all said and done, this is bringing in a new chapter for us. And this new moon is a statement that we are in the new year of 2025 walking into a new chapter of frequency. And with the nodes part of this, it's a directional energy. And Sedna is one of the anchors for future energy. Conjunct Pleiades here, that we're going to talk more about Sedna in a minute here. But this is a energy signature that is bringing in the sense of culmination, the sense of a peak. Sedna and Pleiades, opposite Centaurus Alpha Centauri, is giving the guidance around divination, embodying our true self through our spiritual practice and our daily work with connecting with the universe. The North Node, South Node opposition here in conjunction, North Node conjunction with Pegasus sheet is that hope for the future, while the South Node conjunct supergalactic center is our natural energy, our natural connection that we bring here to the universe, to our multidimensional self. This is a energetic shift that we are walking into now, the coming years, and it starts now. All of this monitored by Mars and Pluto in opposition here. Mars in the first decan of Leo is ruled by the sun. And the sun here is part of this new moon, right? And Pluto in Aquarius is ruled by Uranus. Pluto in the first decan of Aquarius is ruled by Uranus. And Uranus is marching forward here, as you can see, at 23 degrees of Taurus, closing in on that 0 degree conjunction with Sedna, first half of 2025. But what's worth to note is also that both the Sun and Uranus at this new moon is in the Earth signs, Capricorn and Taurus, respectively. So here we have a call for us to embody, to be in our bodies, embodying our soul, our true self here and now. So I wanted to talk a little bit more about Sedna, because Sedna has a critical role at this new moon and in the years to come. Sedna is a dwarf planet discovered in 2003, and she is the goddess, the ruler of the element of water in the new Earth energy signature. And also, as you can see, the orbit of Sedna is quite significant. It's 11,400 in years. And now at this time, and currently, Sedna is closer in proximity to our environment here, with the Earth and the Sun, where we are, than ever before. So this is also a signature of new Earth energy coming in. And in that 11,400 cycle, it's a statement. Sedna is that soul spiritual consciousness that is integrated with frequency, and particularly with the water element. Here in Gemini, it has to do with communication, and the conjunction to the Pleiades is suggesting that our galactic friends in the Pleiades star cluster are ready to connect with us as guides. Many of us have guides from the Pleiades at this time. And if you have alignments, galactic alignments close to that 0 degree of Gemini, give or take a couple of degrees, you likely, with a high likelihood, have guides from the Pleiades. And especially if your alignments are with personal planets, it may be so that you are having a soul team working with you at this time from the Pleiades. So, wow, this new moon is really a statement that we are walking into a new chapter when it comes to how we relate to frequency and how we communicate. This suggestion is not only that we are starting a new chapter, but also how we expand into communicating on a daily basis with our guides, our soul friends, our galactic soul family on a daily basis. So here, this may be a new chapter for many of us to relate to communication in this way. But part of it is also how we embody our true self. And it's right on time. So yeah, let's take a look at our second energetic themes, which is transcending Atlantis energy. So here we have the second theme that I've called Transcending Atlantis Energy. And here we start with that mystic rectangle that I've mentioned before, that is ongoing between about December 8th to January 15th, give or take a day or two, depending on where you live. And this mystic rectangle is becoming the most exact on January 5th, when Mars is at 0 degree of Leo, and the North Node will enter Pisces on January 11th. So the week and a half of the new year is really when this mystic rectangle is coming to its most exact formation. This exactness of it too is another signature of starting a new chapter. And this mystic rectangle is involving the nodes, the North Node and South Node, as you can see, but also that Pluto-Mars opposition. Now, there are more things going on behind the scenes here that I'd like to walk you through next. At this new moon, I've pulled in some additional asteroids to highlight the energy signature that is going on in addition to this mystic rectangle. So I've pulled in at 0 degree of Taurus here, conjunct Andromeda-Mirach, the asteroid Dejanira. I'm not sure I'm pronouncing that correctly. But opposite Dejanira and Andromeda-Mirach is asteroid Atlantis at 0 degree of Scorpio now, conjunct the Shapley attractor. And we also have dwarf planet Haumea, long time here, conjunct the Shapley attractor as well. So this opposition I found very interesting because it builds a grand cross with that Pluto-Mars opposition. And again, we have this alignment around 0, 1, 2 degrees, which is very early in the respective signs, which also signifies that this is a new chapter type of energy. And I'll talk more about the asteroids some more here in a minute, but I wanted to show you the overlay of theme 1 and 2 together. And I know this is a lot to take in, perhaps, but it's again showing us that this bowl formation, this grand cross, is a harmonious energy signature, which is also the signature of an up leveling of frequency. All of these alignments at 0, 1, 2 degrees for Mars, they're closing in on the 0 degree of Leo. This is a significant opportunity at this new moon to address some of the things that Dejanira and Atlantis are suggesting here. You can see the blue circles there are really in the middle, in the center of this formation. So we're going to talk more about Andromeda-Mirach, fixed star Mirage, and asteroid Dejanira, and asteroid Atlantis next. Asteroid Dejanira at 0 degree of Taurus, conjunct the fixed star Mirage, is, if we start with the asteroid first, is significant when it comes to the energy of victimhood and identification with being the victim. Dejanira is the victim in the Nessus story, the Nessus myth. We're not going to go through that here, but the archetypal energy of being the victim and victimhood is highlighted at this new moon. Conjunct Andromeda-Mirach. Andromeda-Mirach is associated with the energy of partnership, of devotion, of commitment, but also feminine elegance and strength. When I see someone with Andromeda-Mirach conjunct a personal planet in their galactic chart, it often comes with an aura of elegance at the soul level, elegance in terms of divine feminine elegance. And that is part of the energy signature of this new moon to address where have this divine feminine energy been considered or been put into victimhood. So that's part of the new moon energy signature here, to build a bridge to come into balance with the victimhood of divine feminine energy and how it may have been expressed. Because 1st degree of Taurus is very much a grounded earthly energy that may be part of a self-expression on what other people see or feel, but has been devalued. On the opposite side of Andromeda-Mirach and Dejanira in this new moon chart, we have Haumea at 2 degrees of Scorpio and Atlantis, asteroid Atlantis at 0 degree of Scorpio, conjunct. Both of them are conjunct the Shapley attractor, which is one of the largest drivers of universal wisdom, as I usually describe it simply. Haumea is this energy of integrated love and connection and integration with all the elements. And Atlantis is a marker often for connection, soul connection to the Atlantis time era, but also the archetypal energy that the Atlantis energy represents. So this combination here in blue, Dejanira, Andromeda-Mirach opposite Atlantis, Haumea, and Shapley attractor. I've cleaned up this chart a little bit because I have Yod in here also that I want to show you. But it's an invitation to balance this energy many of us have experiences from the Atlantean energy, and that has been suppressed over many incarnations and lifetimes at the soul level. Now, this new moon is highlighting very strongly that there's an opportunity to balance this energy at this new moon. The victimhood that may have been experienced in terms of expressing the true self and including divine feminine energy within ourselves in favor for many lifetimes and incarnations of masculine, divine masculine energy. And here we have the North Node conjunct Pegasus sheet, and with Neptune there in a close proximity, and Sedna conjunct Pleiades star cluster in a yod, pointing to Atlantis and Haumea and Shapley attractor there at the bottom. As you can see, this is a directional energy that is inviting us to pay attention to those soul memories, because we have an opportunity to transcend that Atlantis energy at this new moon. Wow, yes, I completely understand if that was a lot to take in, especially that busy chart. But basically, this is an invitation to balance energy related to soul memories from Atlantis, utilizing the ability to transcend suppressed divine feminine energy that has been expressing itself perhaps in on the physical plane as victimhood or victim mentality. This is a energy that may go back lifetimes at the soul level to that is coming up now for transmutation, and with support from Sedna and Pleiades and the North Node giving us direction here in conjunction with Pegasus sheet. That is the hope for the future, to transcend and evolve and raise our frequency beyond the victimhood, because we are invited to step into our own sovereignty as at this time. And so many alignments at this new moon has these early degrees in the chart, and I'm doing my best to piece it together for you. But at a simple glance, there's a lot of formations within the chart that is linked to perhaps sacred geometry, the universal sacred geometry that shows us that there is a new chapter that we're entering at this time. All right, let's take a look at the third energetic theme that I've called Messages of Soul Integration. So in this theme, we're going to talk more about Venus and her journey, but also of the ruler Saturn, because both Venus and Saturn are providing some truths, but also some significant guidance of stabilization at this time. And I'll walk you through what I see here. So if we start with Venus, Venus is now at 26 degrees of Aquarius. So she's well into the future, into the Aquarian age. Venus has been surveying the sign of Aquarius, looking into the future next. And now she's at 26 degrees of Aquarius, opposite Hydra-Alphard at 27 degrees of Leo. And Hydra-Alphard, we've talked about a lot in my videos. And this is just a reminder that Hydra-Alphard is an energy signature associated with the Kundalini energy, the life force energy. Hydra-Alphard represents that awakening energy that is within us all. And Venus here, opposite Hydra-Alphard, is linking our life force with the future of Aquarius. And this is also a reminder from Venus, who is in square with Centaurus constellation and Beta Centauri Hadar, which is a fixed star associated with unconditional love, and also with Perseus Algol at 26 degrees of Taurus, which we also have talked about a lot. But Perseus Algol is that rebirth type of energy, freeing ourselves from the mental constructs, ultimately. Now, so this T-square that Venus is in basically becomes a grand cross with Hydra-Alphard here. And for the rest of December, Now, Venus will proceed into the latest degrees of Aquarius. Venus will square Sedna, conjunct Pleiades there on January 2nd. And that is going to be a download likely from Venus's exploration here in Aquarius for quite a while. So Venus is showing us the way with her square there to Centaurus, unconditional love, opposite now Hydra-Alphard, Kundalini, life force energy, and squaring Perseus Algol, which is that awakening, that rebirth, the release from our mental constructs ultimately. And I wanted to show Hydra-Alphard here at 27 degrees of Leo and this association with life force and Kundalini energy that is alive within each one of us. Hydra is the largest and the longest constellation of the 88 modern constellations in the sky. And if that wasn't a significance in itself, it shows us how fundamental to the progress next the Hydra-Alphard energy is as influencing us. Now let's talk about Saturn as well and emphasize the rulership of Saturn a little bit more of this new moon. Now, we have this square with Jupiter going on for a while, namely December 8th to January 10th. The truths that we are getting delivered has to do with integration. And I mentioned a little bit about this tug of war between Jupiter and Saturn energy in Pisces and Gemini, respectively. But the invitation is really around how we integrate these energies to move into a more whole state. Jupiter is in opposition to the great attractor. The great attractor holds a significant energy around integration and striving towards integrating fractals into more of a whole harmony energy. And now Mercury has entered the conversation here, also conjunct the great attractor at this new moon. This T-square is more exact, I would say, December 24th to 28th, when Mercury is around 13, 14 degrees. But at this new moon, Mercury is, of course, already direct. So now there's some significant messages that are delivered even before, let's say the week before this new moon, starting then and throughout the rest of the year. And again, this is a significant foundational energy of guidance, of expansion, and messages through multi-dimensional drivers, such as the great attractor that is supporting us with multi-dimensional wisdom at this time. So I wanted to highlight just Saturn's conjunction with Eridanus-Archenar some more, since the rulership here of this new moon is showing us, giving us some clues around what to focus on. And I wanted to also mention, in addition to Hydra-Alphard, Eridanus constellation is the 6th largest, but 2nd longest constellation in the sky. So both these constellations have a significance to them. And Eridanus constellation is also called the river. So that is linked into that flow, harmony, the guidance forward into a new chapter, if you will, at this new moon. The guidance into a new chapter of harmony and seeking more of flow in our lives, because it links us closer to our true self. When we are experiencing flow, we are in our natural energy. So this is also guidance from the Eridanus constellation and the fixed star Archenar at this time. And Eridanus-Archenar is located at 15 degrees of Pisces. So here we are at the end of 2024 with some significant messages provided by the stability of Venus's journey and Saturn's guidance here in the background. of this very profound new chapter that this new moon's energy is highlighting for us. This is a gateway, a portal into 2025. And if you're curious about 2025 galactic astrology, check out the program that I have available for you that takes you through all of 2025, highlighting in 6 videos the major energetic shifts that are occurring in 2025. So go check that out in the description box below. The energy signature of this third theme is encouraging us to lean on what we're passionate about. That light force that lights up in us when we are excited about something that we are creating or being part of. We're invited to pay attention to that energy, but also in what way it's expanding us, because Eridanus-Archenar is all about spiritual expansion, and Saturn having been here, giving us the guidance around what it takes to expand spiritually. And it's not something that we just are given. We have to work for it. We have to have a daily practice to connect with our true self, with universal energies. And that's really Saturn's role here in conjunction with Eridanus-Archenar to help us go through the genuine process of expanding spiritually that takes work. And also Venus's opposition here to Hydra-Alphard is bringing us to the point where Venus now knows what the future holds, having gone through Aquarius, the sign of Aquarius, and is bringing back that insight to help us integrate and connect with what it takes and how our life force is aligning and meshing with that new earth energy. Ultimately, we're invited to transmute and transcend energies of victimhood that we may have been living with as a soul, worked with as a soul for lifetimes. This is definitely a new moon that has the potential, that new chapter, that new page is rolled out. And how are we going to release our mental constructs to step out of that victim mentality? Because victimhood ultimately is a energy signature of polarity. So I have a couple of questions should you want to integrate this Capricorn new moon energy some more. The first question is, how can you connect deeper with your true self? And that is a question really speaking of your spiritual practice. We have a perception of what a spiritual practice is sometimes, but a spiritual practice connecting with our true self is also connecting with the universe. And that can look very different for each person and what our preferences are. Our true selves wants us to operate in harmony with our natural energy. So explore what works for you. Maybe it is meditation, but maybe it's not. Maybe it's a nature walk. Connecting with nature is harmony in itself. So explore what. So I invite you at this new moon to consider, how can you come into harmony with your natural self more? And what is your practice? Because in this physical world, we need a bridge between the seen and the unseen, and a spiritual practice is helping us with that. The second question is, what are some of the patterns that you are resolving now that may be associated with victimhood and the divine feminine energy within yourself? This is a critical time to release patterns that you may have worked on for a long time, not just in this life, but for lifetimes. And the self awareness around that and the intention to release is sometimes enough. The second part to this second question is, what part of yourself is seeing yourself as a victim? Because when we can identify, at least within this life, when the seed for that victimhood was seeded, it may also connect us to past lifetimes where we have been working on this energy before. And the third question is, what is the truth in your situation? Because this new moon is calling for us, and Saturn particularly is calling for us being very truthful and honest with ourselves, because our true self does not know any lies or self-deception. Our true self is that innocent energy that is connected to the universe, that is pure, that is innocent, that is love. So the more truth we can sit in within ourselves and be honest with what needs to be let go at this time, and setting the intention of letting it go, because what is behind that letting go is expansion. Are you curious about your own galactic alignments? Download my Galactic Alignments reference guide. There's a link in the description box below. I hope you enjoyed this very profound new moon in Capricorn on December 30th, 2024. I love every single comment that I receive on this channel. I love the interaction with each one of you. And if you want to join our Q&A in January, feel free to sign up for the 2025 Galactic Astrology program, and you'll be included in the January Q&A with me. Hello, welcome. I'm so excited to share this offering with you. We are going to spend quite some time together through multiple videos, going on a deep dive with 2025 and the galactic influences that we can expect. Yes, there will be questions included in each of the videos. Should you want to work with and integrate these energetic shifts some more? Welcome to this 2025 Galactic Astrology, a multidimensional energy forecast. I wish you and your soul family a beautiful new year and year to come. And I can't wait to see you back here in 2025. So this was New Light Living Podcast. I'm Ulrika Sullivan. I'm an intuitive spiritual life coach and a galactic astrologer. Visit me on ulrikasullivan.com, and I can't wait to see you in 2025. Bye.